Yo, 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 check, 1, 2, What up? Yo, peace and riches blessings. It is a beautiful day to be alive. Welcome back to the Burnell Washburn podcast. Welcome to season 2. I feel so blessed to be here with you, sharing my message on another season. I figured it was time to just launch season 2 because a massive shift just happened and we're living in a whole new paradigm. And even before a lot of this coronavirus stuff that's happening right now, I felt like I just reality transferred into a whole new reality. The last 3 weeks have been filled with magic and grace and miracles. I've undergone the most profound, deepest level of my spiritual awakening thus far. It really feels like a whole new level where I'm finally embodying all these things that I've been talking about and starting to intellectually understand over the last few years are now fully embodied on a subconscious level, on a physical level, on an emotional level. Like I've integrated all of it, and there's always infinite more growth to go through. But I really feel like I just freed myself of like 99% of all my suffering, and I'm just feeling so amazing on so many levels. So I wanted to come on here and spread a message of love, a message of compassion, a message of hope, and provide some perspective, some insights, some tools, some mindsets, some things that can help you navigate these interesting, amazing times and opportunities that we're living in right now. So it is my current belief in all of my heart that there has never been a better time to be alive on the planet than right here, right now. And now is such a good time for us to grow, to awaken, to let go of what doesn't serve us. And the whole planet itself is undergoing a massive ascension. We're waking up. A lot of us have been waking up for a while. If you've been listening to this podcast, you've already been on the ascension path. We've already been waking up. But now it's starting to hit the masses, and collectively it's starting to hit a tipping point where old ways are collapsing, and it might seem super chaotic and crazy, but this totally mirrors all of my personal growth personally, and the entire universe is just a mirror for what's going on inside us. And it's, we can get into all that deepness in just a second, but basically in my personal experience, whenever I've been growing the most, that's when it seemed the most chaotic and crazy, and it like right before like the best things have happened in my life. It sometimes feels like everything is just collapsing around and falling apart, and that's when the biggest opportunities are there. That's when the most growth happens. So many blessings are in store for us as a collective tribe, as Earth tribe. We are going to be letting go of things that no longer serve us in a massive way. We are looking at what no longer works in our society. We're looking at things that we can improve. And a lot of this is like the masses are stepping in to do their shadow work. And those of us that have been doing an enormous amount of shadow work over however long a period of time are now rising up and ascending into a place where we can hold space for the masses as they begin to awaken and look at their shadows, because we know how painful a lot of that is. We know how painful it is to really look at the deepest, darkest parts of ourselves, of what's not working and where we're not showing up and where we're not operating as gods and goddesses and kings and queens, and where we're not activating our true potential, and where we're falling short, and where we're letting ourselves down and the world down. And it's painful to look at all that stuff, but on the other side of that is so much healing, so much love, so much joy. I feel like I spent the last few years doing lots of shadow work, and now I'm in a place where I'm just free. I unconditionally love myself so deeply, so much more than I ever thought possible. I've forgiven myself and everyone in the entire universe for every reason. Like there's not a single person I'm holding on to any grudge or anything. Like it feels so good. And I'm so grateful to come on here and be able to say that now, because that wasn't the case even just a few months ago. I was still holding on to so much stuff, and we're constantly shedding layers and letting go of things, but I feel like so much weight has been lifted off me as I've been diving deeper into my spiritual practices, meditating more and more. I've been up to like 3-4 hours a day sometimes of meditation. And then in between that, I'm listening to spiritual podcasts and YouTube videos and reading books and spending lots of time in nature and lots of time just observing humanity and playing with my daughter. And all of this is just bringing me into a greater truth of I am loving awareness. I am not Burnell Washburn or my government name, which is Stuart Sheffield, or I'm not a human being or a Caucasian or a male or any of this stuff. These are all different layers of what makes up my personality, but it's not all me. I am just loving awareness. I am just pure consciousness. And I've started to grasp that on such a deep level and let go of all this suffering and stories that I've told about Burnell's life and Stuart's life. And just it's fun to play all these characters. It's fun to be all these things and have all these ways, identify as all these different versions. But I'm realizing that I am everyone. I am the entire universe. I am you. I am me. I am the dog walking down the street right now. I am the ants that are crawling in the ground. I'm the birds flying in the sky. I'm the ocean. I'm the moon. I'm the stars. I'm everything. And when the more that you really, really, really know that, the less you're impacted or the less you're suffering from the challenges of 3D life here on planet Earth. Because there's always going to be lots of challenges. There's always stuff that we're going to go through. There's always ups and downs and ebbs and flows. And the more that we can rise above that and just observe it from just, hey, that's not me. This is just a temporary thing that I'm experiencing. That's, the less you suffer and the less pain you feel about everything. I've really also been doing a lot of work to make peace with my own death, with my physical death. And I recently just had like a bit of an ego death where basically after I threw this quantum vision workshop, it was such a dope workshop. It was really successful on so many levels. And then there was a couple things that could have been way better. And it was such a learning experience. And everyone got positively impacted, it made profit, everything was great, and people, said it changed their lives, and I learned a lot of lessons. Like I had a list of like 30 things that I could have done better with the workshop, or that I 30 opportunities to do better on my next event, and there were profound insights. I would have paid thousands of dollars to learn what I just learned. Instead, I got paid to learn those things, so that was super dope. But basically, I had a great workshop, and I spent months preparing and building up to that, and it was a really big deal in my mind. And then right at the end of the workshop, a couple things fell apart because we ended up starting late due to some technical difficulties and blah, blah, blah. We kind of got rushed out of the library where we were hosting it, out of the venue, by the staff because they were closing. And so they kind of like rushed us out the door before we really got a chance to finish. So it ended on a weird note. But it was beautiful, and it just, everything happens for a reason, and I'm not beating myself up over anything, because I did the best that I knew to do in every scenario leading up to it and during it. I was honestly doing my best, and that's all I can ever expect of myself. And so I appreciate myself for doing my best. And sure, now I have new insights of things that I could have done better, but it's like I didn't know those insights until I did them. So now I have opportunities to do better next time. Yay. But it was still really, really, really successful, really, really fun. I loved it. It was exactly what I had envisioned. Like certain parts of it were even better than I envisioned. And then certain parts of it didn't quite get executed as amazing as I hoped. But hey, your first event like that, I'm just grateful that it went as amazing as it went. But anyway, long story short, I come home to an eviction notice from my landlord because I was having some financial difficulties, hadn't paid her on time. She was getting fed up with me paying late the last couple months. and she basically had like added an additional balance to my rent for a door that was broken from the wind or whatever, and I'd already assured her that I was gonna get this door fixed, and she was saying it was, a really expensive door. So I was like doing what I can to get it fixed, and she kind of like added that to my bill, and I didn't have that much funds to pay her at the time. So she was like, "All right, here's a 3-day notice to pay or vacate then." And my landlord's a sweet, amazing lady, and I just appreciate that I get to rent from her, and she has like what I would identify as a scarcity mindset in a lot of senses, and seems like she might also be like a bipolar possibly, because she'll just be super super sweet one time and then super crazy the next time and then super sweet, and so it's kind of like you never really know what you're getting. But anyway, love her dearly, appreciate her, and it was like unfortunate that it led to this, and especially during this time. So I came home from the workshop just so I could change my clothes real quick, get some food because I hadn't eaten all day, and I was like shivering because I'd been fasting, and I started sweating hella because when you're fasting you detox a lot. So I was sweating hella, and it was kind of cold outside, so I was just like freezing. So I was like, I'm gonna go home real quick and just change my clothes, get warm, get some food. And I come home to this eviction notice, and my nervous system starts to freak out real quick, but it was like, holy shit, what am I going to do? And everything was just caving in around me. And on top of that, then I start texting my homegirl, and I basically had a falling out with two of my best friends, two of my best homegirls that I've just been so grateful for over the years and love so dearly. Had a falling out with both of them at once over the same thing, which was a misunderstanding, and we're going to work it through all that, and it's all good. But anyway, it was really heartbreaking, and I was just like, holy shit, everything's falling apart right now. And then I have to go play a show right now. I have to go perform a concert, and I don't even know if I can bring myself together to perform, because I don't know if I just want to curl up in a ball and cry right now or freak out or what. I don't even know. My emotions are all over the place. Like, I'm partially like fulfilled and stoked on this workshop, partially bummed because a lot of people that said they were coming didn't come, and didn't. So then I didn't make as much money as I was like hoping for or expecting, and kind of counting on that I'd written down or whatever. And so I was stressed on top of that, and then come home to this notice, and then I get into like this text argument kind of thing with my homegirls, and have a falling out with them basically. And I was just like, holy shit, my whole world is collapsing right now. Everything's going to shit. And then I checked my bank account thinking I had a certain amount of money in there, and then it was way, way less than that because some random unexpected expenses came through and some weird things were going on, and some that sent me into like a little bit of a freak out as well. And so I just had to like pull myself together real quick and go play a show, and then come home and deal with it, and just like not really know what to do, you know what I mean? And like feeling like everything is collapsing around me. I'm lost, obviously. All my ways are not working, even though I feel like I've really been crushing it, and I've really been in alignment, and I've been doing all the right things, following my heart and soul, and really living my dharma, fulfilling my soul's mission, living out my purpose, being of service in a major way, being just in alignment, eating healthy, meditating, working out, making lots of moves, putting out lots of content, staying super productive, being just an amazing dad as best as I could possibly be, and having just such an amazing relationship with my daughter. Like, I'm just crushing it on all these levels, right? And then just all of a sudden, like, boom, in one day, everything just seems to fall apart all at once. And I just was like, whoa, okay. So it caused me to really look back and just assess my whole life. I started questioning everything. Is all this meditating and spiritual work is this all what's getting me into trouble? Because I'm spending all my time doing all this stuff because it's what feels important in my spirit and heart, and everything feels right about it, but I'm getting an eviction notice, so obviously I'm imbalanced here, you know what I mean? Need to switch some things around. And I started just really questioning everything, and I ended up taking a trip up to Lava Hot Springs with some homies, with some good friends. We soaked in the hot springs. I spent like a night of just kind of like random goofing around in lava hot springs, and went to the bar with them and did karaoke even though I don't drink or anything. And like, it was, just some silly fun night, which seemed like the weirdest thing to do when you're facing like a super drastic situation of like you're getting evicted and you don't have really any money to pay your bills, and your good friends are super pissed at you because we're having a misunderstanding right now, and you don't know where you're gonna live, and you have a daughter. Like, just what are you doing? It was like such a confusing, crazy time. But I went within, and I went with some good friends and people I loved, and I got the guidance that I needed. And on the way back from that hot springs trip, I started really having epiphanies just driving back of like what I needed to shift in my life. Like, okay, I've just been a little bit too much in the feminine. I need to balance back out with a little bit more of the masculine. I've been too much in the flow. I need to get just a little bit back into the hustling. And there's certain things that I've been putting off that I haven't wanted to deal with because they're like, oh, that's for Babylon and the man. Like things like getting car registered and just certain tasks and errands that one needs to stay on top of in this 3D plane. I was just so in the spiritual domain, I was kind of ignoring some of that kind of stuff. And so I realized I was imbalanced, and I realized like I wanted to fulfill my purpose so much that I was not doing little things to make like short-term money and just little hustles and side jobs and things that I needed to stay on top of. To bring in the money and just, in order to like live this amazing lifestyle that I have. So, long story short, I realized I was imbalanced, started having all these epiphanies and ideas of how I could shift. Oh, I could do this. Oh, I could do that. Oh, I could switch my routine up just a little bit like this, and then I could do, oh wait, I could do all this stuff. And like eventually I realized, oh, I have time to do all of it. I have time to like do all the errands and chores that I need to do, and vehicle maintenance and vehicle emissions and registrations and social security cards and all the, and taxes and all that kind of stuff like that I need to do. I have time for that. Plus I also have time to really take care of my mind and body and soul, and I have time to meditate for as long as I want, and I have tons of time to make music and art, and I have tons of time to run my business effectively. And I have tons of time to communicate better with everyone that I'm working with, so things just flow more smoothly. And I just realized that I thought I didn't have time for all this stuff and my old paradigm, and then I shifted paradigm, realizing like all of a sudden it just clicked. I swear time just like quadrupled for me and expanded, and I was like, wow, I have time to do everything I want to do and then some. Like I could still have time to relax and chill and watch a movie and do nothing. I still have time to meditate and masturbate and journal and hang out and make my art and walk around in nature and run businesses and do all the different things that fulfills me and helps me thrive. I have time for all of it. I just realized it was crazy. It was like I had been imbalanced, and it was just a simple shift that rebalanced myself. And as soon as I owned that, I just started taking every inspired action possible to rebalance myself. And I just doubled down on the spiritual things, because for a minute there I was thinking, maybe I just been in la land with all this meditation and all this spiritual practice, and I need to come back to reality. I guess everyone else is right. They're like working jobs and hustling and they're busy all the time, but hey, they're not getting evicted, so maybe they're right and I'm wrong. And turns out I was right the whole time. I was just slightly imbalanced, and so I doubled down on the spiritual practices. Since then I've been meditating even more, but I've also been getting all my chores done and all the stuff done that I need to get done, and just handling it like a boss, and realizing my trip to the DMV can be a meditation. My trip to the auto parts store and fixing the thing that's wrong with my car, where it's really frustrating because I don't like working on cars and I don't really know much about them, and I'm getting all dirty and hurting myself and, not knowing if I'm doing it right and spending money and all this stuff. Like, that's not what I want to do. Of course, I want to be meditating in nature, but I realize I can make the working on the car, that can be a meditation itself. And I can end up doing both in the same day, and like it feels really good to just handle my shit like a boss and just get my shit done. And own where I'm at, and it just feels good to even be vulnerable on here. And it's like, I don't care what you guys think about if I got an eviction notice. Like, I just let go of all these paradigms of what people perceive of me and what people think of me. And it's like, I'm coming on here promoting, hey, I'm a life coach. You can pay me to coach you and mentor you. And guess what? I got an eviction notice. Woohoo. You know what I mean? Like, I can be both. You know what I mean? I can be a work in progress and a leader at the same time. I can be struggling and be an amazing teacher at the same time. I'm just being real with y'all. I'm being vulnerable and authentic, and I'm not afraid. There's nothing for me to hide anymore, because I love myself in and out so much that I don't really need any validation or anything from anywhere outside of me whatsoever. I'm just grateful for where I'm at. I'm owning where I'm at. And guess what? Since I shifted my frequency, I'm not worried about a place to live anymore. I am not worried. Like, I have more money than I've had, and this is all within 2.5 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. I now have more money than I've had in like years. And it's crazy because I'll tell you how I did all that. I really shifted my frequency. I became more grateful, because part of my imbalance was I realized I wasn't truly grateful. I was talking about gratitude. I was thinking I was grateful. Mentally, intellectually, I was so grateful. I was writing in 20, 30 minutes in my gratitude journal every day for years. But I had lost sight of the real embodiment, the real emotional frequency of really, truly appreciating everything I have. And that was my biggest shift of imbalance. And I grounded myself back into gratitude. And part of that was I started looking for new places to live. And I realized how I had it made, how blessed I was to live in the spot that I lived in for how cheap it is. And I realized, holy shit, I have been focusing all the last year on how this place isn't big enough and nice enough. And I want something bigger and better and nicer, because I wanted to up level. And that's natural. And it's normal for our desires to increase. You get something, you want the next thing, right? So I started giving myself forgiveness and compassion. I'm like, dude, of course you wanted a nicer house after you lived there for so long. Of course you wanted to up level. But I started looking at what was realistic and what it was going to take to get something nicer. And I was like, wow, I'm going to be paying like triple what I was paying. If I want something nicer than this, it's going to be triple. Like, if I want even something as nice as this, I got to pay double, because I got it pretty blessed. Like, you know, the rental market's crazy in the city that I live in. It's like $1,200 for a 1-bedroom. And it's just, you know, it's been going up like crazy the last couple of years. And all these people are moving here from California and stuff, getting these big tech jobs. So they make good income. They can pay for it, no problem. And of course, landlords are approving people like that over like a self-employed musician with like unreliable income. So I realized how blessed I was. Like, holy shit, I have it made. And I just started taking the action. Like, hey, I'm going to stack up Skrill. I'm going to do whatever it takes if I need to get a side job, whatever. And as soon as I started doing that, then the universe blessed me with all these show bookings and beat sales. And like, I got booked on all these shows. And then so everything started looking up for me, and then I got this opportunity to work for Live Nation, making like really good money, being a runner for artists that are coming to perform concerts. So I get to network with like the biggest celebrity artists while like running errands and helping them, and it's like easy as fuck, and you make hella money. So I got that job, plus all these show bookings, plus some beat sales. Everything just started looking up for me. And then as I got on such a beautiful frequency where I was just like, yo, this is the biggest blessing in disguise. I was just having these profound visions and meditations of just surrendering deeper than I've ever surrendered, trusting the universe more than I've ever trusted the universe. I got into a deep sense of just knowing everything is okay no matter what. I'm exactly where I need to be, and I just let go of all these ego of thinking of where I should be and shouldn't be, and, you know, I just let go of what everyone thinks of me and stop caring about all that, like on such a deeper level, when I've been working on that for years. But it's like I shed the last final layers of that. It's like I said earlier, I just released like 99% of my suffering. I'm the healthiest I've ever been. I'm the happiest I've ever been. And I'm not saying any of this to brag. I'm saying this to inspire, to uplift, to show you what's possible, despite what's going on externally. Like, people, these are some of the craziest times that we've ever lived in as a collective, and yet here I am, and I'm sure many people are just thriving more than ever. Like, I know a lot of the super woke, spiritual, like, people that I look up to are thriving, like, it's super good right now because they had all this momentum. They were already doing the work. We've already been training how to be calm in crazy circumstances. We've already been training how to have the hold a vibration within us regardless of what happens externally. I was able to still have a sense of peace and gratitude and grace and love in the middle of getting an eviction notice because I've practiced that. I've practiced regardless of what happens, I'm going to be at peace, and it's a choice that I've made. I'm not going to let anything, I'm going to be in this world but not of this world. I'm not going to let anything externally shift my vibration because I know I'm creating my own reality based on how I'm feeling. So I'm going to choose to feel how I want to feel. And that does not mean I suppress emotions. I love feeling all the ranges of human emotions. I felt intense sadness earlier today in a meditation as I experienced my own death. Like we'll talk about that maybe in another episode, but I basically went to go visit myself on my deathbed and see what my death was like, and I saw a whole vision of it, and my daughter kissed me, and I was like really at peace, and I smiled, and I knew I was about to pass and transition out of this body into the next realm. And I just looked at my daughter and I just said one more kiss, and she was like an old woman at this point, and she just gave me this little kiss on the cheek, and I smiled, and right as she kissed me and I smiled, my soul left my body, and like I started crying, and it was like super sadness for a minute. And then I went down this deep path of experience, like all these other people's death and experiencing what it's going to be like to lose all my best friends and all these things. And I felt really sadness. So I'm all about experiencing all ranges of emotions. But I'm choosing what emotions I want to feel. I'm not letting external, what other people say, think, or do, or what else is happening on the news or social media. I'm not letting that affect my emotions, at least in a detrimental way. And it's so beautiful to be so grounded in my own energy to where I can be in the world but not of the world, and I can hold my own vibration. And so right now I have so much love and compassion for everyone and everything that's going on, and I'm going to get into all that in just a minute and give you some of my thoughts on this current situation. But first, I'm just kind of catching you guys up with where I've been. It's just like the biggest layer of spiritual awakening that I've ever undergone over the last couple weeks. It's like getting this eviction notice was like a huge wake up. I look at that as like one of the biggest spiritual experiences of my life almost now. Like it like really just woke me up a layer deeper. It's hard to fully explain, but it's just like I rose above layers of illusion and ego that I was still living in that were causing my suffering. And on top of that, I was able to rise into my higher self truly and shift some of my habits and behaviors. And this is the longest streak of healthy eating I've ever been on, of like just super healthy eating without like really fucking it up ever and I'm so balanced with it. I've still been allowing myself to like indulge in things that I love all the time, but just in such a balanced way. And I've just never felt so balanced with everything in my life right now, and it feels so good. So I'm hoping this energy is just contagious, and you can just hear it in my voice, and it somehow seeps into your subconscious, and you can feel the frequency, because I believe we code each other just by when you're around someone that's feeling a certain type of way, you access the code to activate that vibration within yourself. Like one example of that is when I was driving to Lava Hot Springs with my homie Fritzo, I said something about how like his car was reliable or something like that, and he goes, "Yeah, man, this first time in my life this car is registered, insured, full tank of gas, and I got AAA." And I was like, son. And I got my license, and I was like, dude, like you got he's like fully legal on every single level, because he's driven that thing like unregistered across country and shit multiple times, and like he's just the kind of cat that might be like rolling dirty, so he gave me that frequency, and I had been rolling around with the unregistered car for a while because I couldn't figure out how to get my check engine light to turn off so it wouldn't pass emissions, and they wouldn't let me register until it passed emissions. So like, and like, I just like didn't know if I had the money to make that all work and get the car fixed, and then plus get it registered and all that stuff, several $100. And I was just kind of scraping by for a few months because I didn't have a lot of shows, and just like I hadn't been selling as many beats as usual for some reason. Like I think my frequency just went off. Like I said, like I had been in balance, and I'd been too focused on what I wanted rather than grateful for what I had. I'd been too focused on all the things that I was trying to create and how they were so much better. And I started to look at everyone else that had all this nicer shit and and I didn't know this at the time, but I guess a part of me was feeling a little bit jealous. And I was happy as fuck for all these people that had what I wanted. But part of me was feeling a little bit of suffering that I didn't have that stuff yet, and thinking I was going to be happier once I had it. So once I let go of that illusion and just got super grateful for how blessed I already had it, like, holy shit, dude, like, wow, I'm so grateful, and I just like heightened my sense of appreciation so much, and everything shifted for me. So as I was driving with Fritzo, I realized the frequency code of what it felt like to have your car registered, insured, AAA, full gas, everything is just dialed in, you're good to go. I said, whoa, that feels nice. I'm just going to sit here and soak in that frequency for a minute. So I closed my eyes and just felt that vibration for a minute, and I activated that code. And within 2 weeks, I had the same situation. My shit is dialed in. It's like the first time my tank's been like above full ever since I had this car. It's registered, it's cleaned out, it's insured, it's licensed, it's everything's just dialed in. And I just started making all these boss moves. Things started shifting for me, and it was like as soon as I stepped up to help myself, the whole universe started helping me. I have an episode of this podcast on season 1 where I talk about the universe will meet you halfway, and it'll meet you more than halfway. If you just show that little bit of effort of like, hey, I'm taking the inspired action, I am making the choice to do what is in my power, and I am going to make the conscious choice not to stress and worry about anything that is out of my control. I'm just going to do whatever is in my control and just be at peace with the rest and radical acceptance for the rest. And then the universe starts helping you out. As soon as you start helping yourself out, it's like all of a sudden people start coming out of the woodworks. Like, one of my friends was just like, here, I'm sending you $200 because you've inspired me so much. And I'm just like sitting pretty right now, and I have a bunch of money, more than I've ever had. And I just feel like being generous, and you've inspired me and helped me out in so many ways. Here, I just want to help you out right now. Here's $200 out of nowhere, and like just things like that started happening to me. I get invited to join this Deepak Chopra 21-day meditation by my friend Takaya. And it starts changing my life. I'm like 6 days in, and it's just been beautiful. My abundance frequency has risen every single day. I'm back in the flow. I've shifted to a new paradigm. Money's flowing easily. And on top of that, I am less worried than I've ever been. I'm less stressed than I've ever been. I'm less impacted and controlled by other people than I've ever been. I'm healthier, happier, lighter, more free. Like, I just feel so fucking good on so many levels. And my sense of appreciation and gratitude just seems to just be exploding through the roof with every minute. I just keep getting more and more grateful to be alive and to just be thriving so much. I've cried tears of joy multiple times of just how blessed I am. And I've been staying so consistent and so on top of all my good habits of the meditation, the working out, the resting, the nature, the barefoot grounding, the sun exposure, the journaling, all the things that I preach that helps me raise my vibration, that helps me just maintain a beautiful frequency and a beautiful mindset. I swear all that has just finally seeped into my subconscious. Before, it was like only on the surface, and the subconscious runs 90% of the show, so it was like I'm doing all the right things and it's not working, but like I'm doing what all the masters tell me to do. I'm doing what all my mentors tell me to do, and it just doesn't seem to be working yet. And it was because my subconscious wasn't on board yet. So I started falling asleep to hypnosis a lot more, like making like the last hour of my night before I'm falling asleep like one of the most important parts of my day now. And that's been huge in reprogramming my subconscious. And then just my morning routine, it's like I'm very careful at the first thought of the day. The second I realize I'm awake, what do I think and feel? And if I observe, I'm constantly observing myself. I'm living my whole life from the observer perspective now. Like I'm not attached to this life as Burnell. I'm just observing Burnell as this cool character that I get to play, and I'm playing just like trillions upon trillions of infinite different characters, and I love it, But I observe my thoughts so much. I'm so aware of what I'm thinking and feeling. It's like no negative emotions or thoughts really slip past my radar. If they come up, they get noticed so quickly that I'm able to dissolve them and not even resist them at all. Just make peace with them and love them and choose something new. So if I wake up in the morning and I observe my first thought as negative, I go, oh, that's interesting. Your first thought was negative. Your first thought was fearful. Okay, I love you for being fearful. Thank you for, I'm like talking to myself. Thank you for the part of you that just like wants to protect yourself and wants to make sure everything's okay, and it's constantly thinks its job is to worry. I appreciate you for worrying. I love you. Thanks for doing your job. I'm not trying to stop the worry. I'm just loving it. And then it's like this, when I just love it, it like dissipates, and then I immediately I shift my focus. So I start a mantra, or I start focusing and observing on my breath. I breathe in and I say, I am. And then I exhale and say, loving awareness. I am. Loving awareness. And I just keep doing that over and over again. The second I catch a negative thought or anything, or just sometimes just naturally waking up, just feeling that already, because I'm programming and coding all of this. I'm listening to the teachings of Ram Dass and Michael Bernard Beckwith and Dr. Joe Dispenza and just all the different spiritual masters and teachers that I possibly can, and Deepak Chopra every day lately. And it's just been maintaining such a high vibration that I've just never felt so good. And so it's been weeks since I put something like harmful at all. It's been probably months really since I've put anything bad into my body, or like really over-consumed food or anything like that, which has kind of been an issue on and off my whole life. And I'm on the longest winning streak of good habits that I've ever been on. I've been saving money, I've been donating money, I've been circulating money, I've been receiving money, I've been paying off old debts and bills and things like that have been weighing me down. I've been replacing equipment and things that have been broken so I can just keep my whole system rolling. Like, I've been just taking really good care of myself and doing what I need to do. And then it's like I just started getting in super alignment, having this huge awakening, this huge sort of like ego death, this huge transcendence into loving awareness, where I'm just loving everything so much, and I just really centered back into a state of gratitude. So that was like the shift that happened from this supposed negative thing of getting an eviction notice. And I was able to choose all these emotions before I worked out the solution. I did not say I'm going to go into panic and freak out, and then once I find a new nice place to live and all this stuff and I have money again, then I'll be able to be back on this path and feel all these emotions. No, other way around. I chose to feel the emotions, trust the universe, surrender, have faith, and just do what was in my control, take the inspired action, and just totally surrender, and whatever is meant to be, it will be. Whatever happens, happens. I make peace with the worst case scenario. That's often key to manifesting anything that we really want to manifest. It's first we have to make peace with the worst case scenario. If we're worried about stuff, let's just face those fears and say, what's the worst possible thing that could happen? Okay, I could die and everyone I love dies and this whole universe doesn't exist anymore, and that's the worst possible, and I could be okay with that. I'm fine with that. You make peace with the worst case scenario of like, okay, I'm getting evicted, I live on the streets, I'm homeless, and my whole family stops talking to me, and they don't let me hang out with my daughter anymore or something because I can't feed her or some crazy shit like that. I would never get to that. Like I would, that luckily I've like, that's my standard has never dropped low enough to where she wasn't well taken care of. My daughter's always been abundantly spoiled her whole life, thanks to me and her mom. And that partially, I realized that was part of my imbalance, is like I was like taking too good a care of my daughter in certain ways when I needed to be paying other bills, but I'm taking her to like do fun shit because I want her childhood to be dope. But now I'm realizing I can do all of that, and I've rebalanced myself, and the money's flowing abundantly again, and it's all good. But I had, before I got to the solution of that all working out for me, I first made peace with the worst case scenario. Worst case scenario is I'm on the streets and I'm not even allowed to see her, and I could build myself back up from that, and I'm even okay with that. It's all good. I would never accept that reality. I wouldn't let it happen. I wouldn't let it get to that, but I'm okay with like the worst case scenario. And as soon as you're okay with the worst case scenario, all the resistance subsides. All the stress and tension of you trying to hold it together lets go, and a place of surrender and trust opens up, and then you ascend into a vibration where you can access guidance and wisdom from the divine, where you can receive answers and intuitive nudges on inspired actions to take and phone calls to make and things to do and ways to spend your energy. And just I really believe in grace. I believe that grace happens when you're in the right frequency. Things just start working out for you. It's like people have just been hooking me up, and it sounds crazy, but there's a part of me that thinks this whole entire corona, I really have like grounded the last few weeks into the belief that the entire universe is conspiring to help me thrive. I preached that at the workshop, and then when I came home to an eviction notice, it was the universe almost testing me of like, all right, this is what you preach. How much do you really believe it? Can you face what most people would perceive as like a pretty intense challenge and be able to just like maintain a beautiful frequency and still trust, hey, this is happening for you. This is happening, can you still really believe that the universe is conspiring to help you thrive in the face of an eviction, in the face of your homies dying, your family dying, of relationships falling out, whatever, like. And the answer was, yes, I can. And then the universe rewarded me and like opened me up, just, all right, here you go. Here's everything now, because you just fully trusted and fully surrendered and fully practiced what you preached on such a high level where I just like, I knew everything was okay. I didn't know how. I was just like crying even right when it happened. Like, I don't know. This is a blessing. This is a huge blessing, and I'm going to laugh, and I'm going to be so grateful for this someday. And I don't know how I'm going to get through this. This seems crazy. Like, I have no potential even solution right now whatsoever, so it seems just wild, but all I can do is kind of laugh about it and then assess the situation. And I just knew in my heart everything was okay and everything was happening for me, and that if it was time for some harsh growth and some harsh lessons, I was like ready to accept that. And I was ready to just embrace the challenges, because I've grown the most in this life through some of my biggest hardships. So I was just like, okay, here's another up leveling for me. Sometimes I never like this shit when I'm going through it, but it's always great on the other side. All right, let's go. And I embraced that, fully surrendered, and all my spiritual practices and all the teachings that I've been studying helped me navigate this so much smoother, where like there was just very, very few moments, if any, there was of suffering at all. And I was able to just release all sorts of suffering that was remaining in my energy field still, and just heal different parts of my body. I swear I might have like grown an inch physically because I just stretched out more. Like I just like fixed my posture and like released all this tension in my body and became more flexible. And all of this stuff happened through deep meditation and exercise and dream work and journaling and a little bit of microdosing psilocybin, and so I'm using different tools, a lot of the tools that I talk about, to help me navigate this awakening that I've been undergoing lately. But most of it's just been through meditations, just going within and really making peace with forgiving everyone for everything and forgiving myself for everything, and just having love and compassion for everyone. And I was going to say a second ago, it sounds kind of crazy, but I honestly think that a part of me and I think we collectively manifested this virus as a way to help us awaken. As I honestly think we all needed this pause. I've been waiting for this. I've been waiting for everyone to like have a little bit of time to just question their ways and question everything. And that's what we do all the time when we're meditating. The word meditate means to become familiar with. So we're becoming familiar with our own ways of being and seeing what things serve us and don't serve us. And the more you become aware of stuff, the more you can shift it. You can't really change something if you're not aware of it. If you're not aware that a certain way of thinking or way of being is hurting you, then you're just going to keep doing it. But as soon as you're aware that there's a different way, a higher way that's like really brings lots of pleasure and awesomeness, then you can shift to that way. And it makes it pretty easy when you know like you're moving towards pleasure and away from suffering. Like makes it pretty obvious to make these simple shifts. And it's all these simple little behavior tweaks, simple little choices all throughout our day, every day that like leads to our whole vibration. You know, whether I choose to do a meditation or not, or whether I choose to work out or not, or whether I choose to open a certain page of a book or click on a certain thing online or scroll on Instagram. Like these tiny little micro decisions are going to affect everything so much. And the more we become aware of how certain things make us feel, the easier it becomes to start making decisions and habits that serve us. Because we're just aware of like, okay, I know how every food that I eat makes my body feel. There's not a single food that I consume that, unless it's a new food I haven't tried before, that I don't know how it's going to make me feel, because and the timing of when I put it in my body and all this stuff. Like I'm just really in tune with my body. I'm in tune with. I know how I feel when I'm scrolling Instagram too much. I know how I feel when I've looked around a screen too much in the day. I know how I feel when I haven't slept quite enough. So like, the more aware you are of how things make you feel, the easier it is to just choose things that make you feel good and make these tiny little shifts that don't seem like these huge decisions, but they all lead up to a massive, massive growth and massive joy and blessings. Then you get to embody these things that serve you and make you feel good, and then you stay consistent with that, and that's when just miracles and magic happens, and that's when you just feel healthier, happier, stronger, more capable, more productive, more inspired, more creative than you've ever felt. I'm feeling all of those things right now. I've been making the best music I've ever made over the last couple weeks. Like I'm just writing so many songs. I'm communicating well with people. I'm taking good care of my health. I'm keeping my house like cleaner and more organized than I've ever kept it before. I'm just improving so many areas of my life. And it's 3 weeks after I get this eviction notice, and like now how's my life so amazing, and it's been amazing. It's not like I've been suffering and grinding this whole time and now it's good. It's like I chose to feel all these good emotions, and just I started getting really into alignment and really trusting the universe and really being about all this shit that I preach and really trusting all the spiritual teachers that I follow. And it worked. And I'm standing right now before you just feeling so grateful, so blessed, and so like ready to serve. So another thing I wanted to come on here and talk about was just a little bit about my thoughts on the coronavirus, as I've channeled a message. I've been doing lots of deep spirit. That's why I haven't been posting quite as much the last like week or two. I've been doing some deep work, I've channeled messages from the year 2020 itself, and I've channeled message from the coronavirus itself. The year 2020 told me, if the year 2020 was like a person, it would say, just trust. I'm about to give you the best summer of your lives. I'm about to give you the best summer you've ever had, the best fall you've ever had, and from here on out, this is going to be the best decade you've ever had. The things that are happening right now are to awaken, to shift, to, like, speaking of shifts, I literally woke up to an earthquake this morning. I haven't looked on the news or anything about it, so I don't know how gnarly it was, but my whole house was shaking, and my first thing I said when I woke up was like, is this a fucking earthquake? And then I wasn't sure if I was still dreaming or not, or if it was like a big truck driving by my house, because sometimes that makes my house shake a little bit, but it was like pretty gnarly. And then the first thing I see is a text from Angie saying, Did you feel that earthquake? Ollie wants to know if you're okay. And I was like, oh shit, like, damn. The earth is literally shifting right now. It's such a beautiful time to be alive. Humanity is waking up. We are becoming more compassionate. We're becoming more grateful. And I'm a precursor as to how humanity is about to feel. All the vibrations you've been hearing me talk about of how healthy and happy and grateful I feel, that's what's coming for the collective. Because all the super awakened ones that I know have already been feeling that. Like, we've already been feeling healthier and happier and stronger and more connected. And we just keep up leveling and getting better, and not like above anyone, but, you know, we're growing a lot and it feels beautiful. And now we're helping the masses do that. And it's been ongoing for a long time, and it's constantly cycling and ebbing and flowing. But I think this is one of the most profound awakenings and shifts that's ever happened. I can just feel it. I can just feel like old paradigms are collapsing. I've been ready for all of this shit to break down. I've been ready for society to realize that our whole food industry, our whole education industry, our whole healthcare industry, our whole political system is just garbage, and it hasn't been serving us for a long, long time. I've been ready for all that to collapse and shift, but we don't. And it seems chaotic and crazy right now, and a lot of people are struggling, and I have so much compassion for everyone that's dealing with any type of setback. I'm trying to be the voice of influence, saying you can be thriving in the midst of chaos. You can be thriving in the midst of disorder. You can be happier. You can be more trusting in the midst of everyone panicking. You can be calm while everyone's freaking out. You know, your emotions are not interdependent on the collective. You know, are they influenced and affected? Sure. But we can ground ourselves so solid in our own vibration that it doesn't affect us in a negative way. We can learn from it and grow from it and observe it, send love and compassion towards it, but we're not getting fully drawn in and sucked into it in a way that's detrimental. So like I said earlier, it's like a mirrored reflection as to like my own shadow work is like, okay, it felt chaotic and crazy and looked like everything was falling apart right before I had a massive healing, right before I had a massive awakening and up-leveling. As, you know, I've gone through the biggest growth spurts in my life. They've been they've been basically caused by the biggest pain and suffering and just craziness, because the old ways have to die. And it feels painful when a part of you is dying, but it's not the true part of you. It's the falsehood, the egos, the illusions, the things that no longer serve. That's what's dying. And it's like there's a grievance period as a lot of that old ways die. So there's a lot of people in the collective that are having to look at just how our whole system is running and what needs to shift, and just what is money, even if they can just make up $1.5 trillion and just pump it into boost the economy real quick, but they can't fix the water crisis or the hunger. You know, it's like, hopefully it brings some more compassion. You know, more people are dying of not having clean water every day than this virus will ever take. More people are dying from eating shitty fast food and drinking soda and medication and all this stuff than are ever going to die from a virus. And if you really look at the facts, we are getting over this virus more, and people are healing from it and recovering from it, and less people are dying from it every day, and like the percentages are getting better. And don't buy into all the fake news and the fear propaganda and just all the fear mongering. That's another part of the distraction to divide and conquer. Don't play into that. Be mindfully prepared. Be wise, be smart. You know, I'm quarantining myself and having social distancing right now a little bit, and just staying really good with my hygiene and health, and just staying super grateful that I'm healthy, and sending love and compassion to everyone. We're all affected by this in some way or another. Some of us are super, super affected in deep ways. You know, I lost all my income. All my shows got canceled. All my income just disappeared. And that's another point that I wanted to make, is just as everything started working out, I got all these shows booked, and I got this Live Nation job opportunity, and then boom, it all pulls out from under me. So then I surrendered again. And I just said, cool, it's all going to work out. You know, everything's all good. I'm not even going to trip or be sad or upset about this. I'm just going to be grateful. And I feel excited for what I'm building, and I'm just focused on the possibilities of and the opportunities. I'm not being pessimistic at all. I'm just so optimistic about everything. And I know in my heart that humanity is about to undergo an awakening, and we are already undergoing it, but there's about to be so much love and compassion and gratitude. We're going to appreciate events more. We're going to appreciate social contact more. We're going to appreciate having toilet paper more. We're going to appreciate when people aren't panicking. We're going to be like, damn, it's actually nice when the whole world's at peace now. Like, when people stop freaking out about this, it'll be like, wow, people will be in a good-ass mood just because, damn, we can just go outside and just do what we want to do and go to the store and no one's fucking stressed out and freaking out. Oh, damn, this is actually pretty nice. Damn, we've been blessed this whole time. Wow, we've been taking a lot for granted. Wow, there's a lot of shit that we haven't been fully appreciating, and that just kind of woke us up and showed us how blessed we are. And damn, we should do something about that water crisis. Damn, we should do something about world hunger now. Damn, we should do, we should do something about the housing situation or the healthcare situation. We're going to start fixing all those things because we're going to realize how blessed we already have it. And then, damn, remember when we were freaking out because we thought we were going to run out of toilet paper? Oh shit. What about the people that die every day from no clean water? Let's go hook them up and just solve that issue right now. I think lots of that is going to happen. I think the next 10 years you're going to see so much growth and blessings and miracles and magic on this planet. I think over the next 50 years we're going to solve so many things. We're going to regenerate the bee population. We're going to regenerate our soil through regenerative agriculture and permaculture. We are going to heal lots of mental illness through psychedelic research and plant medicine. We're going to just new technology is going to enable us to be healthier and happier and live longer and deal with our emotions better. We're just a lot more spiritual teachers are waking up and bringing their value to society. So I'm so excited. Like, so many good things are in store for us. It might seem a little crazy right now, but take this as a time to reflect, to go within, to build your vision, to develop compassion, to spread love, to be of service, to create, to relax, to heal. This is a powerful time for us to do some spring cleaning, to get centered, to cultivate our vision, to see where we're really trying to go this next 10 years, 20 years. If we keep up our old ways, where are we going to end up? What needs to shift in our life in order for us to really live out a life that's going to light us up and that's going to be in harmony with nature and that's going to ultimately lead to the greatest good for all, Like, let's start having the we instead of the me mindset. I think we're going to become more tribal, I think I've already seen it happening. The reason I can say all this stuff is because I've already seen it all trending. The fact that so many wellness places are popping up, and there's just more places to find healthy food now than there's ever been, and there's more places there's more community gatherings, people meditating, and people even talking about this stuff, and people healing and doing yoga and qigong and reiki and just all sorts of awesome things that have been trending and just becoming more and more popular over the last several years. So it's easy for me to predict that it's going to continue trending. But I think this earthquake today and this whole coronavirus and the whole Trump presidency and just all this stuff is just like, all the fucking flaws of humanity are just bubbling up to the surface to be healed, to be seen in pure daylight, so we can just make conscious shifts and live a more beautiful, more harmonious life, because we all have started to awaken as a collective, and we all started to realize, oh shit, the old systems that have been in place for hundreds or thousands of years just are really, really shitty, and we want to love each other more and be good to each other more. And now that we're seeing the repercussions of how our ways of living have really been impacting our earth and our brothers and sisters, like, let's start shifting things a bit. And now's a time for us to be more loving, more compassionate, more optimistic, more in our joy. And, take this as a beautiful time to go within, to be productive, Just because certain things are shut down doesn't mean that any part of you has to shut down or any part of your growth has to shut down. But maybe your body needed some time off of work or some time off of school or some time off of whatever you're doing, or maybe you just needed a little bit more time to rest or to heal, or I honestly feel like it's just like a giant reset button was hit for humanity, and now we all have a choice of which timeline we want to live on, which paradigm do we want to live on now. And the awakened ones are just choosing the path of heaven on earth, activating bliss for the collective, and realizing that when you're awakened, you can live every moment as an awakened being on this planet, and it can be like pure bliss, joy, ecstasy, even in the midst of like the craziest hardships, even in the midst of people dying. You can see beauty in anything. You can see grace everywhere. You can access wisdom and guidance. You can tap into miracles. You can tap into magic. There's just so much blessings all around us, so much opportunity all around us. So I wanted to come on here and spread my optimistic, good vibes because I'm feeling so good. I wanted to catch you guys up on my life, on the awakening that's been occurring the last few weeks. I got kind of deep, kind of authentic, kind of vulnerable on you guys. Super vulnerable, super authentic on you guys. And also was just talking super fast because there's so much I want to say. And I just drank my 4 Sigmatic mushroom coffee with the lion's mane and chaga, and I'm just like amped up and I'm ready to go in the mountains. So I'm like, blah, 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 blah. But I wanted to get this episode out because I just feel like so much is bubbling. And as I was meditating today, there was, oh, nice. Fuck yeah. As I was meditating today, I noticed the only part of my body that carried any tension, my body was feeling so amazing, but there was this strange kind of lump in my throat. And I was like, what's that lump? And the inner voice just told me, oh, that's unexpressed emotions. That's unexpressed stuff that you want to get out right now because you're just feeling so much and thinking so much lately, and you've been kind of quiet because, I've been careful about what I said. I don't want to offend anyone or stir anyone up or add to the madness. And it's like the world doesn't need any more content necessarily right now about the coronavirus, because it seems like when I go online, I'm just like, even all the spiritual people and the health people and woke people, it's like every single episode is like either it's like ways to stay healthy or ways to boost your immune system or da-da-da-da. And it's like, even though that's the positive side of it, it's not look how many people are affected and look how many people are dying. Like that's the negative side of it. But like the positive side of it, even still, is focusing on this virus. It's all the energy's on the virus, And I didn't want to come on here and make content about that. I wanted to come on here and really talk about my awakening and how good I feel lately, and just like spread that through osmosis, because I know by me being in my joy and being well, I can transmute that to you. I can only transmute to you what I'm experiencing myself. So I can give you the gift of well-being because I'm so well and I'm overflowing right now. And that's kind of why I've been just like talking so fast and I just haven't really breathed as much as I should. But I know that a lot of us are dealing with this differently, so I'm offering love and compassion to everyone. If you need someone to talk to, feel free to hit me up, and I can definitely help you get on this optimistic vibe about it all, because I just know, just by hanging out with me for 30 seconds, you'll get on this vibe, because I just know fully in every ounce of my being that this is a blessing in disguise here to help us grow. It's an awakening, so it excites me. It's a growth, so it excites me. It's a chance for us to just become more loving and more graceful and more in harmony with nature and with ourselves and just with the whole universe. So I'm just so grateful for what's happening right now. And it's however you're processing all of this, it's okay. You have every right to feel however you want to feel. Just know that you have the power to feel however you want to feel, despite what happens around you. Despite what happens externally, you are your own sovereign being. We are all one. We're all mirrors for each other. But your expression has its choice to choose how you want to feel, and we can choose to activate a high vibration, which is one of the best things we can do to serve the collective. If we want to heal the planet, let's focus on healing. Let's focus on how good, healthy we feel and how grateful we feel. I honestly think that it's like, I'm not coming on here and bragging on how healthy I feel just so I can, big ups myself. I honestly think that me just talking about it puts it out into the ether, into the collective, where I create more health and wellness for humanity just by talking about it and feeling it and being it. Versus if I came on here and talked about how sad it was that X amount of people are getting infected or dying, that is sad, and I have compassion for that. And I'm aware that the sad things have been happening on this planet every day since it's existed. So I have so much love and compassion, but the best thing we can do is, if we don't want to add and be a part of that sadness, let's be a force of love. Let's be a force of joy. Let's be well. That's the best thing. That's the best gift we can give. We can heal humanity by rising up and being well ourselves and tapping into that level of gratitude. No matter what you're doing, no matter where you're at, no matter what you have or don't have, you can be grateful. And it feels so good to really appreciate the gift of life. It feels so good to appreciate the fact that I have this voice that can talk to you, that I have this body, that I'm conscious at all, that I've ever even existed for a single millisecond in this universe. The fact that I have friends and family who love me, the fact that there's infinite oxygen to breathe, that I have clean water to drink and healthy food to eat, clothes to wear and a roof over my head right now. Wow, I am so blessed. And even if I lost all that, the fact that I'm a conscious being is such a blessing. And all the material in this world is going to fade away someday. I'm going to lose this body. I'm going to lose this personality. I'm going to lose this house. I'm going to lose these clothes. I'm going to lose my money. I'm going to lose my friends. I'm going to lose everything. But what remains is my true essence, my truth. I am loving awareness. I am pure consciousness. And I'm really grateful to exist and just be here, to be a part of all this. It's a wonderful time to be alive. I love you guys so much. I really appreciate you tuning in today. Please do everything you can to hold the highest vibration possible for yourself. Fill yourself up to be overflowing. The world needs you at your highest right now. And the way that we all heal humanity is by healing ourselves first. So let's continue to do the work, and let's hold space as the masses embark on their shadow work journeys, as I imagine many of them will. And let's get excited about what the future holds. Let's hold a sense of optimism and joy, knowing that we create our own reality and that anything is possible in the quantum realm. We can literally create heaven on earth right now, and I honestly think since this sort of reset button has just happened and the shift has happened, it's like now's a better time than ever to a lot of people are shifting their behavior right now, and it's just let's click up to this heaven on earth frequency as a collective, as a group. Let's activate this vibration of heaven on earth, of peace and love and joy and gratitude. I love you guys so much. I appreciate you all from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for listening. If you got any value from this, spread this out. Share it with someone that you think will appreciate and resonate with it. And if you are getting super value from any of my work, I would appreciate if you consider checking out my Patreon, patreon.com/Burnell Washburn. You can throw $5, $10, $20 a month. I appreciate all the money blessings coming my way, and they help me keep the show rolling. I've got a bunch of new music for all my Patreon supporters. I'm using this quarantine time to record a lot of new songs, so I got this new EP that I'm giving out to anyone that supports me on Patreon. And since all the shows got canceled and a lot of funding that was coming in disappeared, I'm just having fun getting creative with all these other ways to bring in some income. And a lot of you guys have been reaching out, supporting, telling me that I should do live stream performances online and have a donation link and stuff like that. So I might do something like that, but I got the Patreon rolling, and I always appreciate all the blessings, and I just know everything's gonna work out. So I'm not even tripping. I'm just so grateful to be here. So excited, so inspired. Season 2. This is the first intro episode of season 2. We're gonna have some amazing high vibration guests on this podcast this season. We're gonna be talking all about spirituality, awakening, biohacking, health and wellness, mindset, entrepreneurship, prosperity, abundance, mindfulness, but so much amazing stuff we're going to be talking about here on season 2. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you for listening. Go create an amazing rest of your day. Go get out in nature and give Mama Earth a hug for me if you can. And keep loving on yourself. You deserve all the blessings. Much love, y'all. I'll see you soon.